Good morning. It is 9 o'clock on Monday, June the 15th, 2020, and the Commissioners Court is now in session. It's a special session. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. A reminder about cell phones. We've relaxed our rules on cell phones during this pandemic. So if you would, please put it on buzz or vibrate or something so that it doesn't go off. But if it does, I'll forgive you this time. Then the next item on the agenda is public input. And let me remind the public that public input is exactly that. It is input. It's where people who want to address the court on matters that are not on the agenda can come address the court. And we're one of the few courts that have public input at all of our special and regular meetings, which I'm proud to say that we do. I'll remind people that when you come, if you want to make comments, you're free to do so. If you're here, you would come to the podium. We'll allot 3 minutes. You identify yourself and give your address so we'll know what precinct you live in. Know which commissioner can follow up with you. We'll have the telephone here. If you call the number, it's 830-792-6161. And then we'll take your call here publicly if you want to call in with input. I remind you that when I say input, that's exactly what it is. We don't get to respond to your input. That's the law. Unless we put on there that we're going to discuss it, then we can't discuss it. Is that right? I'm looking at my county attorney. So we will listen very respectfully and politely, but we can't comment on it. If you want to put it on the agenda, contact your commissioner or contact me, and we can put an item on the future agenda and discuss it. So with that, is there anyone that would like to make public comment? Okay. Then let's move on to commissioners' comments. And just to educate the public, again, this is the opportunity where the commissioners can report what's going on in their precinct or in the county, the things that are relevant to county government. This is really just basically kind of the status report of what's going on in your neck of the woods. So we'll start with Commissioner 1, Commissioner Ballou.
Getting very dry out there.
And I'm afraid of that.
Yeah. And so, no burn bans for anybody yet, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Here's the guy we're watching. But it's getting very dry, so we're keeping an eye on it for everybody.
Good. Good. 2.
A couple of things. Some of the Precinct 2 folks are pretty upset about a couple of things. Number one, and this is probably across the entire county, the appraised value of agricultural exempt land in a lot of cases has gone up 50%. And they don't understand why. They haven't had an answer. I don't think the appeals board has met yet, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be there to make a hearing or at the hearing and understand what's going on. So it's not understandable. The other thing is it's subject to recycle. You know, people get used to doing something and recycling, and then it's eliminated. Well, just the only thing's been eliminated from the county or the containers at the landfill. People really like to use them, and so when you take something away from somebody, that causes some grief. So we've been getting a lot of phone calls about that. And another thing, just of interest, the Texas Archaeological Society was supposed to be here this month with 600 people. They've postponed until next year at the same time, I think, and probably will do it for 2 years, but I don't think we ever got an official cancellation of that, but it's off. So that's it.
Okay. Good. 3.
Same comments I've heard about the appraised value. People don't understand why they went up so much on the agricultural properties. So we get an answer to that. Other than that, some of the members of the court know, but I traveled this last weekend. I went to Louisiana for baseball, but not that baseball was good, but what was interesting is that traveling is very challenging these days. For anyone who's planning a trip, look for restaurants. A lot of restaurants, and very few were open in Louisiana. Fast food was there, but that was about it. And it's very different than it used to be to go on a road trip somewhere. So I thought that was very interesting. And I guess on a local note, those that try to reach me right now, I'm a little bit hard to catch I'm on the road quite a bit for next month.
Good. Ford.
All right, I'll chime in with the appraisals. I had quite a few calls and a meeting last week with different individuals. They're all concerned, like you say, Tom. And in fact, there is a group that's planning on getting together and have a meeting this Saturday. And if y'all want information, I'll share it with you afterwards. That you might. I think they're looking for strength in numbers, and I encourage it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town this weekend, but I'll share that information with you later.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that we're hearing a lot about appraisals, and so what I'm going to do is we're going to put this on an agenda, a future agenda, either for the 22nd or 29th, so that the head of the appraisal district, I can't pronounce her name, Constantinides, something like that. That's as close as I can get. I'm sorry.
Sharon.
Sharon can come talk to us about it. I think it's a newsworthy thing that we need to understand what's going on, and I think the public needs to hear her explanation of what's going on with the
Without a
appraisals.
doubt.
So we'll put that on the agenda so we can address that public concern.
It is worth noting for everybody that we don't have anything to do with the appraisal.
And
Exactly.
that's the point that we want to make when we bring Sharon in, is that the county has no control, no authority over the appraisal district. That's a completely separate function that is overseen by the comptroller of the state of Texas. So it has nothing to do with the county. But it affects us and it affects our taxpayers, and so we'll have them come in and talk to us. I've talked with Bob Reeves, our tax assessor collector. We're anticipating to have a higher than average number of ARB hearings, and that's the Appraisal Review Board. For those of you that want to get into the syntax of county government, ARB is Appraisal Review Board, and those hearings have to be completed. I think they have to be completed before we can complete the budget. So I suspect they're going to be very busy between now and August as we complete the budget process.
Just a comment on that. You might visit with Sharon as soon as you can, because she may want somebody to come from the comptroller's office, because I believe that cap rate is set by the comptroller, not locally.
It is set by the comptroller. That's a good point. So we may push it at maybe closer to maybe the 29th to give them time to try to get somebody from the comptroller's office in to talk to us. I'm sure they're talking to everybody across the state. They're busy too.
Yes.
Okay, with that, let's move on to our agenda today. The consideration agenda, item 1.1, which has been the first item on our agenda now for 3 months. Is that right, Doug?
15 weeks.
Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding update facility use and other matters related to COVID-19. Doug Thomas, our Emergency Management Coordinator.
Morning, Judge, morning, Commissioners. So, yeah, we're in week number 15. Not a whole lot to report this week. I do have some numbers for you. We had no deaths from COVID-19 this past week. We had no positive tests from this past week, so that's a good thing. I think that hopefully we're at the bottom of the curve for a while, and I hope we stay there. Testing, we did do some testing this past week. We had mobile testing done by Texas Military Forces at the Doyle Community Centers, or the Doyle School Community Center, and we tested 41 people. I still don't have results from those, and I still don't have any results back from the testing that we've done the week before either. I know that we had six tests completed, and they were all negative, and they were still waiting on the rest of those results. So it may be sometime later this week I'll have those results. Let's see, again, some testing numbers. The COVID positive breakdown, again, still stays the same. We had 8 by close contact, 2 by community spread, 4 travel, 7 unknown, for a total of 21 COVID positives for Kerr County for the year. Testing for this past week, Peterson Regional at the close of business on Friday had done 1,189. Texas Military Forces 386, that's including the 41 from this past Wednesday. 675 nursing homes. And the 21 COVID positives down there still gives us an infection rate of 0.009.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%, yes, sir.
Good job.
Significantly less than 1%.
Good job.
So I think that goes to show that our community is doing a pretty good job as far as social distancing. I've seen a lot of people wearing masks at HEB and some of those stores around town, so I think that's a pretty good thing. Community spread, though, is still active in Texas. Texas numbers are 86,011 as of yesterday. Total deaths in Texas was 1,957. Total recovered is 56,535. Testing, total tests is 1.4 million. Of that, the viral tests, the one where they do the nasal swab, is actually 1.2 million. The antibody tests, which are the serology tests to determine whether or not you had the virus and just didn't know it, for 144,050. Kendall County, surrounding counties, Kendall County is at 36. Medina is 52 with 2 fatalities. And if you'll notice from last week, I had 217 listed on there for Medina County. What they did is that if you look at their dashboard, they started including their TDCJ numbers in there.
Right.
So they do have a prison unit there. And
That's the Torres unit.
yes, sir. So they were adding those numbers in there. So the 52 number comes from the Region 8, DSHS Region 8 update, not the State Operations Center's update.
So they got almost 250 there in the prison.
Pretty close.
I've been in that prison many times.
Let's see, Gillespie County's at 6, Bandera County's at 7, Kimball County still has 1. Still 235 counties with positive COVID-19 cases. Our DSHS Region 8 numbers, of which we are a part of, Region 8, active cases are 1,911, 3,354 recoveries, 119 deaths. Everything else that you have in the report is the same as it's been for the last 15 weeks. We haven't had any more updates from Governor Abbott on executive orders or anything like that. So right now, I think we need to continue to focus on the positive, and we need to continue to stress social distancing, washing your hands, good hygiene, using hand sanitizer when soap's not available, those types of things.
Are we at 75% capacity now on
Yes, sir.
restaurants and
Yeah, we
things?
moved up. June the 3rd is when the governor put that out, so we're up at 75%.
Okay, good deal.
Talk to us a little bit about this possible surge. We're hearing that Texas numbers are up a little bit with the openings. I'm not seeing surge numbers here in Kerr County.
No, but the surges are going on around the state, maybe metropolitan areas, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, even Fort Worth, for instance. I think it was expected by the state that once we started opening it up, that people were going to start getting a little bit closer together, they were going to quit using their masks, and might relax just a little bit. And I think that's what's caused the surge.
And so as far as our citizens, our taxpayers, we don't want to get too complacent too soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we just we need to keep stressing, like I said, social distancing, washing your hands, using face masks. Don't go to work if you're sick, and by all means, we're doing enough testing around here locally, both free testing from Texas Military Forces and through Peterson Regional. There's no reason why anybody can't get tested if they feel sick.
And the public probably ought to know that the camps are beginning to open up this week.
Yes, sir.
As I was driving in this morning, I saw at City West Church, they had all the buses lined up to take the kids out to some camp experience somewhere. And so that's something we need to be very careful about as we do that, because the counselors come in from all over the country, and then you have the kids. They've got a good, the American Camping Organization has a good protocol for the kids. You can use all paper goods and keep them social distanced but they're kids. I mean, you can only keep a kid apart so long. But that's going to be the thing to watch in the community in the next few weeks, is opening up at the camps. Mm-hmm. And then remind everyone that we don't open up for actual jury selections at this courthouse. When we actually get a lot of people together, that'll open up August 1. So we still have a couple other benchmarks that we're trying to get past. But so far, with an infection rate of less than 1% and limited to 21 COVID positive cases, and we only have 2 active, is that right?
Yes, sir. 2 names. And I expect one, if not both of those, to come off this week.
And I compliment you and the people that you're working with the city and others. You've done a very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything else for Doug? Okay. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. Maybe
Always.
next time on some different circumstances.
And we look forward to week 16.
Yeah. You're always number one on our list.
Okay, well, easy.
Well, as long as we keep getting good reports,
Yeah.
what more can we ask? The next item on the agenda we deal with every week now. This will be our, 15th week on this one too? 1.2, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the local state of disaster due to a public health and economic emergency proclamation that I signed on March the 24th and extended until terminated by further order of this court on March the 30th. And so we review this every week, and on advice of council, we've kept that proclamation in place for reimbursement and grant purposes. But as you can see, we've done very well. So, anybody want to weigh in on this one today? We put it on the agenda every week. The proclamation, by the way, is only good for 7 days unless it's renewed on a weekly basis, and that's why it's on the agenda.
No reason to take it off.
Okay, and let's move on to item 1.3. Information regarding the petition campaign to get on the November ballot for the alcoholic beverage sales in Precinct 2. Claudia Richards.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
As most of you know, my name is Claudia Richards. I am the Program Director for Precinct 2 Prosperity Program. Our mission is to legalize the sale of all alcoholic beverages in Precinct 2 for the sales tax benefit, especially during this economic crisis that we're in. I wanted to speak today to let you know, give kind of an update on where we are. We're doing a lot of live and media networking this week. We'll be on with the KEDC. Teresa Metcalf, who's here also, she will be hosting a podcast. We're going on KDT Live on Wednesday, Jam Broadcasting on Thursday. I want to say thank you to the Comanche Trace, especially the Lady Niners. They were absolutely awesome in the drive that they held last week. They got over 150 signatures alone with just what they did in a 4-hour period. This week, from the 18th to the 20th, the stories at the Elephant Story will have a drive-through complimentary wine and cheese tasting. So you can drive through, sign the petition, sample some great wine or just some great cheese. That will be from the 18th to 20th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Repeat that location again.
Elephant Story, it's actually located in Comfort,
Okay.
but it's the Elephant Story. They are also hosting Zanzenberg Storyville in Center Point, and that's directly across the street from the post office on Main Street, Center Point. They will be there on Friday from 4 to 6, Saturday from 12 to 3. Same concept, complimentary wine and cheese tasting. Commissioner Harris, you mentioned strength in numbers, and I think that is extremely important, especially with what we're doing right now. We have the area that we're working with is such a vast rural area with very few densely populated communities, such as River Hill and Comanche Trace, which are our larger target points. But it's been very rewarding and encouraging to work amidst everyone in such a diverse population with, we have such a diverse population out there, and everyone has worked phenomenally together. And in the middle of a pandemic and the civil unrest that is happening right now, it's been really encouraging. So I want to say thank you to the community, thank you to the precinct voters, the registered voters who have gotten out there, and Judge, thank you for last week emphasizing the necessity. I think that was very helpful. As of now, we have 646 valid signatures to submit. So that's where we stand on numbers.
And remind us again what's the number we need?
2016 by the end of August, or by the end of July.
Easy way to remember, just remember 2020.
2020, okay.
2020, that gets it.
And Ms. Richards, just to clarify, one of the major reasons that we're doing this is to develop the craft agriculture along Highway 27 East and Highway 173 South.
Absolutely.
Which are in Precinct 2.
Okay.
And in order to be able to develop wineries or local breweries or what have you, like they've done in Fredericksburg, will need to have that precinct to be wet instead of dry.
Correct.
That's
And-
one of the major reasons.
Absolutely. And some members of the community have said that they don't want this to become a wine trail. However, if we do open that area up, it will also bring in further retail shops and sales venues, more restaurants, so it is not specific to just trying to get alcohol, so.
Well, I think most of us would much rather see that land developed for craft agriculture rather than quarries.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And that's all I've got on the update.
Okay, thank you very much.
So 646, 646 to date
Correct.
signatures. So by the end, and it has to be completed essentially by 1st of August.
Correct.
So you got 60 days, so may have to go to Plan B if at the end of June we're not sufficiently there, because probably getting the low-hanging fruit right now, so may have to try and go door to door or something like that, even though people are probably going to resist that, so.
We will not be going door to door.
Okay.
We will improvise and do what we need to do, but as Mr. Thomas just said, that COVID is still rampant. It is still, we have been lucky and blessed due to county decisions that y'all have made and keeping social distancing in place, but we will not be going door to door.
Good.
I think the 646 with the first 2 weeks in, we were hoping to have relief, and so trying to market a plan almost immediately, which was completely different from the plan that we had before, has been challenging. However, the events that we have coming up, I think, are going to be extremely successful.
Claudia, for all the places that you mentioned where people can sign the petition, for instance, in Comfort, Center Point, are those locations, times, and dates available on the website?
They are. You can find them at precinct2prosperity.com.
Precinct2prosperity.com, okay?
Correct. And you /events, or there's also an events tab or an affiliate tab, and the petitions are located there at all times, not only during the event signings.
Okay, good. So I know at Center Point, it's every Friday and every Saturday
Correct.
for 3 hours on Friday and 3 hours on Saturday.
Right.
So there's a lot of opportunity for people to sign if they'll just take the time to sign.
But even though they're only there on those days, Los Dos Amigos, as well as Toucan Gems and La Tapatia, have copies of the petitions as well.
Okay, good. Thanks, Claudia.
Thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
Okay, item 1.4 on the agenda is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to allow the county judge to secure a grant advisor to assist with determining the county's options for spending grant funds related to COVID-19. I put this down for James Robles. Go ahead and sit down, James. That was just, if it's going to be unpopular, I want to blame it on him. This is something that I've really put on the agenda. And what this is for those of you that have not paid attention, the federal government has allotted $55 per citizen in counties, and that amounted to $1.4 million allocation of a possible grant to the county, Kerr County. And that is for reimbursement for expenses related to COVID-19. In that legislation, they allow up to 5% of what they have awarded, of the 1.4, to hire a consultant to advise us on what we can be reimbursed for, so that we take full advantage of what they're offering to try to help us with. And of course, it's not often that we get this kind of offer from the federal government, so we'd like to take advantage of that. And since that is an expense that they allow, and at this point, we're nowhere close to $1.4 million, right, Sheriff? So it'd be good for us to have somebody, like the equivalent of a CPA or a tax lawyer, that comes in there and takes a look at your information to see what qualifies. And that is allowed, so that would be a reimbursable expense for us to do, so it costs us nothing to do it. The federal government's providing this to try to help ourselves, and combat this COVID-19. So that's why I put it on the agenda. And so what I'm asking from the court is to allow us to go ahead and interview consultants and bring somebody to the court to be approved to help us try to manage these funds and maximize our reimbursements as allowed.
Is this something that'll reach a level where we have to have a bid submission? Or
No.
is this services?
Well, it's just services. I think that's right. County attorney? Professional services?
Professional services
Right.
up to,
Well, if you did the 5%, we've got in the budget that the federal government's given us up to $70,000. But I don't anticipate that we're going to come anywhere close to spending that. But if we go spend $5,000 or $10,000 to get some good advice on what is reimbursable, I think that would be prudent.
And the city is planning on doing this?
The city's already got somebody.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is there any way of joining forces with the city? And
We've talked with the city. We've talked with our auditors for their recommendations. I've spoken with a couple of my fellow county judges who are, what we're trying to do at a regional level, and this is, we're building off of other ideas. We've got this
Mhm.
regional public defender's office, so the five of us have been talking about, can we find a consultant to help the five of us, because our economies are intertwined anyway.
Yeah, for other counties, it seemed like it'd be similar expenses that could be reimbursed.
So at this point, we're just looking for authorization to shop, to interview people, and then bring somebody back to you and tell you why we recommend it.
now is this going to be somebody that can both consult on it and then write the grant application?
We'll write the grant application here on e-grants. Don't ask me too much about that.
But this
They
is
do
somebody
have
can-
me sign these grants.
Yeah,
But
but they're going to look over our shoulder while we do it.
they will assist us, yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we authorize the county judge to secure a grant advisor to assist with the COVID-19 related expenses that may be eligible under the federal grant, and request that he consult with, I'm sure he will, with the county auditor
I'll
in that
second
selection
that.
process.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Ballou, for us to secure a grant advisor to assist with determining the county's options for spending grant funds related to COVID-19. Any other discussion or debate?
Thank you, James.
Well, and I've been working with, the reason James got on there is because Tanya and James have been working with me on this. Okay, then those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Good. 1.5, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to declare certain county property as surplus in the Human Resources Department.
Yes, you should have a list of the items. We have 4 items, actually 5, just cabinet shelving that are no longer usable. We're requesting that those be declared surplus.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Ballou, seconded by Commissioner Letts to approve the surplus items as presented. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. 1.6, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a resolution to apply for the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding grant through the Alamo Area Council of Governments. I don't see Callie here today, but James here.
I'll take it forward. This is going to be a separate grant unrelated to the 1.45 million we were just discussing. This is a 30,000 grant through ACOG. This will help us with our COVID expenses, cleaning, and also straight time for officers. The application is due today, and we're requesting that we get that resolution approved.
James, question, this is in addition to the 1.4 million.
Yes, sir.
So where does this funding come from?
This one comes from ACOG.
Okay, move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Letts to apply for the ACOG grant. Any other discussion or debate?
And approve the resolution.
And approve a resolution?
I'd like a kind of a refresher on what county auditor said last meeting. We got already $240,000.
Yes, we received 20% of the 1.45 million up front. That's
We already have that.
It's actually 290,000.
291,000.
It's 91,000, okay. All right, I had remembered 240 for some reason, 291, yeah. And that's separate also.
That is
That's
separate.
back to that 1.4 million.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So,
Okay, so we've got a motion, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Ballou to apply for the ACOG grant. Any further discussion or debate? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Let's move on to 1.7. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to reappoint Greg Longenbaugh to the Kerr County 911 Board of Managers. Commissioner Moser.
Thank you, Judge. I make a motion that we approve Greg Loganbow. Okay, he's been on the board. He's the deputy sheriff. That board is working very, very efficiently and effectively. So he agreed to serve another term. So I make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris, to reappoint Greg Longabout to the Kerr County 911 Board of Managers. Is there any further discussion or debate? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Item 1.8, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the 415 agreement, which is the qualified replacement benefit arrangement for the Texas County and District Retirement System.
Yes,
Jennifer
sir.
Doss.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. This came to light recently when we were notified by TCDRS, the Texas County District Retirement System, that we have an active employee who, if retired today, their monthly retirement payment would exceed the amount allowed by IRS regulations. Now, the TCDRS does monthly calculations based on your length of service and your age and the amount of the retirement payment. This individual, the salary has been a high level and they've been here for many years. The chances of this person retiring right now, it's probably not going to happen. But this has never happened in Kerr County before, so TCDRS they had to notify us that this was a possibility. When this happens, what the 415 agreement allows is for Kerr County to pay the difference. Now, the monies that Kerr County pays will be deducted from the monthly contributions that we send in for the employees. Apparently, there's only one other Texas county that actually has an employee that's retired that makes these payments. There are several other counties who are in this situation, and when this happens, what I understand from TCDRS is that counties put this 415 into place. The good news is that you only have to do this once. This will be in place for any future employees that fall into this situation. Now, as the employee ages, so does the limit. So they gave me an example of somebody that's age 50 that retires. The limit that they can make, or the TCDRS can pay them in a retirement, is $100,000. When they reach 55, it goes up to $145,000. Once they reach 60, it's $200,000, and 62 plus, it's $230,000. And so the way it was explained to me, typically if the person retires, TCDRS will make the payments from January to October or November. Typically, it's just what the county would pay would just be a small amount. And then we pay the remainder of the year. We would pay this through payables. We would issue them a 1099. And as that retiree ages, so does the limit. And so probably within a year or two, these amounts increase so much that we wouldn't need to make the difference anymore.
Confusion.
It's confusing. It's just, there's a limit under the TCDRS program. And the counties, it's just the way they set up the program and we're part of. If the amount is in excess, the counties have to pick up the difference for a period of time. The employee is entitled to the retirement.
Right.
It's just the retirement plan doesn't get to that point because of IRS limitations. Therefore, the county has to pick it up until
Can't they just max out on their benefit?
but the employee is entitled to the retirement at a higher level than the IRS allows.
I understand that.
Yeah. And it's just that the counties have to pay the difference if it happens, which is very rare that we get in a situation, and for a couple of years until the IRS limit exceeds the limit that the employee is entitled to.
So I didn't understand the last part of that, Jennifer. You said it goes away after a couple of years in this particular case.
Correct. Say so an employee retires at 50, incrementally the amount allowed by IRS grows. So by the time they reach 52, or they might fall under whatever that limit is. And so for the years that they're under the limit, for the years that they're over the limit, that's the only years that we would need to pay. Once they reach a certain age, the amount goes up, TCRS will pay Excuse
So
me,
it's
we'll
a
pay the
time
entire
factor.
thing, yeah.
Is it, at that point, it's a time factor, not an amount factor?
It's
Or-
their age.
their
The
age.
amount increases as they age.
As their age increases, the IRS limitation increases.
What is the IRS limitation? That's the thing I don't understand.
Yeah.
Apparently, I asked if there was a formula, and they said it's not that easy.
Well,
It's
why is the
complicated.
federal government limiting the retirement from a state employer? I'm missing something that's probably just my.
Oh, I don't understand
Well, like,
why there's an IRS limit. I don't know, but
I got the same question, I, you know.
Right. Well, like Commissioner Let said, that, the employee is entitled, the retiree is entitled to the 100% of the pay. It's just that TCDRS is only allowed to pay up to a certain point.
Based on the IRS.
Right. And so
But still,
they'll technically be paying the whole because they'll reduce our monthly contributions
yeah,
by
I
whatever that
understand-
amount is.
I understand all that.
Explain that.
I'm just asking about the IRS limitation. That's part of.
Explain that last part again. I didn't understand that.
So whatever the amount that the Kerr County pays out to this individual.
Let's just say we pay out $10,000. What
Right.
happens?
So in this, the next monthly contribution, our payments from the regular employees, their contributions and our matching, that bill will be reduced by $10,000. We'll submit the whole amount, but they'll draft $10,000 less. So in essence, they're making the payment for us, but it's not coming directly from them. It is
So-
confusing.
So what we're doing with this is circumventing the IRS limitations. And TCDRS is actually the one indirectly paying it.
Correct.
So
But
this
you
is,
have to have this agreement in place in order to be able to do that.
there's something about this that just doesn't sound right.
Well,
I don't know what it is.
It doesn't sound right, but it's legal.
I think it's where the reason it works also is that there's, and I'm guessing on this after looking at that program, they have some excess funds in Kerr County's account has some excess funds in it above and beyond because of the fund grows.
Right.
And that excess funds is what's actually making this payment, but it has to go through a roundabout way to get there.
All determined by or dictated by IRS, which
IRS.
none of us understand why there's a IRS limitation.
And I'm sure there's a limitation. I mean, again, I'm
I'm sure
guessing
there's too.
similar to the logic I would think would be to prevent municipalities and local governments from paying real high salaries
Awesome.
and then having
Okay.
retirement. Who knows that part of it? I'm just guessing. But it's similar to there's it's a graduated tax system. If you make over a certain amount, you're at one rate. If you're different, it's the same
So-
type logic, I think.
So bottom line is, assuming that the IRS limitations are there, which I'm sure they are, then we've got the decision here.
Right.
And we have to do
Right.
the other option is we cannot do the agreement and then the money comes out of our general fund because we're obligated to the employee.
Right.
So
Is there-
with
is there some
this,
kind
it
of-
wouldn't cost us any more in the
Correct.
long run.
Right.
Correct.
It won't cost the county any
Any
extra.
amounts that we pay out,
Okay.
they'll reduce our monthly by that.
Gotcha.
But if we don't do it, it does cost us more.
Okay.
And the county attorney has reviewed the agreement, and she gave it her blessing.
And there's no cost to the county for this?
No.
There's no service charge?
No.
I make a motion that we approve the 415th agreement for the Texas County District Retirement System.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris, to approve the 415 agreement for the qualified replacement benefit arrangement for the Texas County and District Retirement System. Debate and discussion.
That discussion went better than I really anticipated.
Well,
Well, I agree with you, Judge. It doesn't sound right, and it certainly doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds like a way around something that's been allowed.
and it may very well be that this is what we need to do, but where I'm coming from is, I just don't think it's a good practice for us to vote for something that we don't understand.
Well, the TCDRS did say that if you have any questions, if the court has any questions, they can call in and explain it. You each can call in and get it,
My preference would be to put this back on an agenda and get that explanation from TCDRS so that we know exactly what we're doing. I don't want to vote for, and I'm not against it, I'm just saying, I don't want to vote for something that I don't understand. I don't think that's
But
what I'm supposed to do.
in our county attorney, she's reviewed it, and you're comfortable with it?
I've reviewed the
The
legal.
legality of it.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't. like
But to understand the
this
policy
one.
behind it, I'd like TCDRS to explain it to us.
Okay.
I'm not faulting you.
Oh, I
I'm just saying,
It is very complicated.
let's go to the next pay grade up and say, come explain this to us, because this is getting
Okay.
in deep water.
I agree.
So basically, we just need an explanation of the IRS limitation.
Yeah.
Is
I think
this-
we start with, and that's the thing I said, assuming that the IRS limitation
Right.
is there, which I'm sure it is, then you can go forward. But it's okay to start with the IRS limitation. I'd like to understand it better. It's a surprise to me there's such a limitation. But
And there's no time. I mean, are we under the gun to get this done in any certain time?
You know, if the individual were to retire today,
Right.
we wouldn't have this in
Okay.
Okay,
place.
all right. I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay.
Okay, so the public understands, we don't understand, so we're gonna look at this some more.
Okay,
That's where we're going?
Yep.
so we
Okay.
can have them call in, say the next meeting?
We'll put it back on the agenda.
Okay, thank
There's a
you.
time down.
We'll do this again. We'll put that as a timed item, so they'll know exactly what time we're gonna call. They can call in.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Okay. The only other thing we have on the consideration agenda is a timed item, which is probably going to be discussed in executive session at 10:30. So let's move on to the approval agenda. 2.1, pay the bills. Mr. Robles.
Good morning. For Kerr County, we have $187,943.29. The airport, $2,278.76. Adult probation, $3,356.91. Juvenile probation, $1,029.09. Fund 45, we have $3,000.
Tell us what Fund 45 is again.
District clerk fees.
Okay.
Fund 78, county clerk fees, $751.24, and Fund 95, the 198th District Attorney forfeiture, $7,125.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Baloo, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the payment of bills as presented. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Budget amendments.
We have 4 today, all line item transfers, 216th District Court, Constable 2, HR, and Indigent Services.
And again, just to reiterate, at this time of year, as we go into the budget season for next year, all of these budget amendments are fairly routine within interdepartmental
Yes.
allocation of funds.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the budget amendments. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Any late bills?
No, sir.
Any auditor reports?
We do have one, this is for the Justice of the Peace Precinct 3. And I should have a copy of that.
Yes?
Do what?
Is there a motion to approve the auditor's report?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Blue to approve the auditor's report on JP3. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Monthly reports.
No.
Court orders.
Yes, we have the court orders from our June 8th meeting, 38111 to 38126. They all look to be in order. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the court orders as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Information agenda, 3.1, status reports from department heads. Any department head reports?
Just as a reminder, our budget was, for the department requested budget was due by Friday. We'll be turning in a copy to all of the court of the department requested budgets, as well as some summary sheets by the end of the day.
Okay. And just for information purposes, not going through department or office by office, in general, are these budget requests that we're going to review in our coming workshops about the same or actually a little less than what I proposed in my budget?
There's several departments that are underneath what the budget you proposed.
But the bottom line is, the requested budget is actually a little bit less than what I proposed.
We haven't had time to analyze that. It was due by 5 o'clock on Friday, but I'll be sure to notate that in the email that we send you.
Well, I'm just curious, so let me know when you find out. Okay, thank you. Let's go on to item 3.2, status reports from elected officials. Okay, then 3.3, status reports from liaison commissioners.
We had a small group meeting to discuss economics at the airport, and I'll report that in executive session next week.
Good. Okay. Anything else?
Go ahead.
A few things. I mean, the small events, but the Cocoa Event Center is trying to open up a little bit here and there, get a little bit of use of the facility and revenue in. Everyone, I think most of the court receives those reports, but they've had a couple of events, not big ones. So that's good news.
There was a big event there Saturday, I think. They had like 90 cars.
Yeah.
90 cars in the car show inside the Egmore there. Fabulous facility, you know, all concrete. Lots, I mean, 90 automobiles in
It was
there.
actually, it was
Yeah.
for the facility, a small
Yeah.
event, but it was the biggest car
Right.
show they've ever had. I
Right.
think 88,
Yeah,
Yeah.
close to 90, right.
I
90.
heard that, yeah.
The
Good
IT
show.
department, on another topic, it came to our attention the other day that there's no backup power. We've had power outages here recently, and we had backup battery power for a little while, those UPS systems, and they have to be huge, and they don't last very long. And so I suggested to Bruce to look into having us a generator that will keep this thing up and operating, at least the servers here. So we have that at the sheriff's department. We have it out in West Kerr with HCTC. We don't have it right here in the courthouse. So that's something that will be coming up before the court before long, once he gets a handle on it. And if you want to add anything to that, Bruce.
It's in the works.
Okay, it's in the work. Just wanted y'all to know.
Sheriff?
If I can add something to that, if y'all remember, we do have that very large unmanned generator that ran the jail until we did the expansion. And y'all actually put in my last year's budget, this current budget right now, $20,000 to have that generator to see if we could move it and get it. Nobody knew what the actual cost was, but just you funded that amount to see if we could get it moved over here to the courthouse. That got put on hold because of the committee and all the expansion. We hadn't done it, but I did ask Shane last week to go ahead and get with the electric company, whoever he hires, whoever got the county bid on electricity, to see what it would actually cost to get that generator moved over here and hooked up, because it is a good generator. It's, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's old. It's 23 years old, but it does very well, and it would supply.
It's got about 600 hours, I think he said.
And it would run this entire courthouse if they put up right. So I still think
It's gas,
we should.
diesel.
So between the sheriff's office, the IT department, and the maintenance department, they're looking into this, and we're going to try to address that issue. Good. Good report.
One other thing I want to add, just a reminder to everybody that we will be having a workshop with our volunteer fire departments this Wednesday out at the Ag Barn at 10 a.m.
And veteran services at 3 p.m.
That's right.
Wednesday's a big day for the county. We've got workshops with the volunteer fire departments in the morning. We meet with the Capital Improvement Planning Committee at 1 o'clock. At least Commissioner Letts and I will. And then we have Commissioner's Court again at 3 o'clock for a workshop for veteran services.
And those workshops will be video recorded, YouTube.
YouTube.
Right.
Yes, they will. Good. Okay. It is 10 minutes of 10. I think we've exhausted pretty much what is on our agenda, except for the finance item. We're going to talk in executive session back at 10:30. But I'll remind the public we will come back into public session to adjourn into executive session at 10:30.
Judge, on that, I'm guessing part of that discussion will be an open session, the first one.
Okay.
If the only part of it that can be an executive session relates to the purchase of real property, I think that is what can be an executive session.
So we'll get it at 10:30. We'll get a general. This is going to be Dusty Trailer from RBC Capital. and he's going to advise the county on what financing options we have with regard to our capital items in the budget this year, as well as some of the other items that we're discussing at this time. So I would ask the public to tune back in at 10:30, and we will reconvene. We'll be in a recess until then. Okay, court will come back into session. We have a timed item, item 1.9, discussions regarding possible refinance of a series of certificates of obligation, finance options for the FY 2021 capital expenses, and possible office building for the Regional Public Defender's Office. When it comes time to talk about the real estate transactions, we will go into executive session. These others we will discuss in open session. So with that, we have Dusty Traylor here with us today from RBC Capital, I believe it is, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we've got you set up there at the podium. We're on YouTube, by the way, so the camera's looking at you, and you're being broadcast live.
Very good.
So, just to set the stage, Tanya Shelton, the auditor, and James Robles, the deputy auditor, and I have met with Dusty about finance options. It started initially when we were working on our budget proposal, because we're proposing to finance over a 3-year period some of the capital expenditures in the budget. And we're doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one, because we don't have enough money to pay cash. But number two, by moving it to moving it to P&I, it affects how we calculate our effective tax rate instead of being in the M&O columns, the maintenance and operations. So those were the two reasons that we initially started meeting with him on this, and I think we've got $880,000 in our budget for capital expenses, and we discussed a number of options. Then we also he came in that process. He pointed out to us that we have several series of certificates of obligation that are coming up that we have the opportunity to refinance, and interest rates are so favorable right now that we asked him to go ahead and take a look at refinancing those certificates of obligation, which I think we'll hear in a minute is going to provide a substantial saving for us over time. And then the third thing is with this Regional Public Defender's Office and trying to find a place to house them. We're looking at a building down the street. They've made us an offer that's almost too good to refuse. So we're taking a look at what we can do to finance the purchase of that building. And when we talk about that actual purchase, we'll go into executive session. But that was what spurred this. And we've asked him to come talk and explain to the court exactly what we're looking at and get people familiar and comfortable with the financing options available. Dusty.
Judge, Commissioners, pleasure to be with you guys this morning. It's a pleasure to get to be out and see folks in person, and it's great to get to see some familiar faces. As the judge mentioned, we have discussed some of these financing needs of the county here over the course of the past few weeks and month. But we also here recently also just discovered and visited about some of the bonds within the county's existing bond portfolio. And so we started out really this presentation, I've got it in two sections. The first section, we look at the county's existing bond portfolio, and that lends itself pretty quickly to look right at refinancing analysis. So if you look inside tab 1 on page number 4, see a sheet like this, provides a quick summary of the county's outstanding bond portfolio. And what you'll see there is the county has approximately $29.885 million of outstanding obligations. And the obligations that we are looking to refinance specifically are the Certificates of Obligation, or COs, Series 2012. If you look, those have their first call date on 2/15/2021, so within this upcoming fiscal year. And then the other set of obligations we're looking at refinancing are the Combination Tax and Revenue Certificates of Obligation, Series 2014. Those also become callable within this current, or within the upcoming fiscal year. It's important to point out that the Tax Reform Act of 2017 took away our ability to do something called an advance refunding on a tax-exempt basis. We're no longer able to do that under federal tax law. Now, in order to effect a tax-exempt refinancing, we must be within 90 days of the call date of the obligations to be refunded. So these particular obligations, the 2012s and the 2014s, we would actually be able to deliver tax-exempt refinancing bonds around about the middle of November of 2020, say probably November the 17th, 18th, something, whatever that 90-day count is, they're backing up from 2/15/2021. Well, that would actually allow us to be in the market to sell refunding bonds in the middle of October, which is pretty quickly approaching here for us. So the analysis that you'll find over on page number 5 contemplates refinancing the callable portion of the Series 2012 and 2014 certificates of obligation. That refinancing actually refinances about $4,915,000 worth of the county's bonds. And as the judge mentioned, interest rates are very favorable right now. And so when looking at this refinancing, those particular obligations, if you look down on the page, the chart or the table, bottom left, see the average coupon on the refunded bonds is about 3.68%. Refinancing, once you factor in the call feature, cost of issuance, underwriter's discount, that would have an interest rate conservatively of about 2.28% in today's market, being in an arbitrage yield on just the bonds of a 179 of about 300. We'd have savings of $346,000. And on a present value basis, when we do the financial calculation in today's dollars, what's that worth? It's worth about $312,000, or about 6.37% of the principal amount refunded. And if you'll turn with me over to page 6, we actually demonstrate for you how that savings accrues. That $346,000 does not accrue all in 1 year. That accrues over the course of the remaining life of these obligations. These obligations are stated to kind of retire in 2032. And if you'll look there, the column second from the right, the net savings, you'll see that $346,000 amounts to right around $30,000 or so per year on average savings. And then the column to the far right is that annual calculation of the present value, or the value in today's dollars of that savings. So this is something that we believe is worthwhile for the county to pursue. Obviously, we can't be in the market right now. We need to wait until we get closer to October. But there are steps that could be undertaken here over the course of the next 60 to 90 days to get you in a position to take advantage of what is hopefully a favorable market in the middle of October.
Yes, yeah, it looks very favorable. What's the downside?
Commissioner, there really is no downside. There really is
I
no
wouldn't think
downside.
there would,
Yes, sir. So,
Okay.
Well, if you remortgage a house, for example.
Yes, sir.
There's some cost associated with it.
Yes, sir.
He's got that in here.
Sometimes it's not worth the process.
The estimated issuance costs, Commissioner, are built into these numbers that we're presented. Yes, sir. So we're not talking about $346,000 in savings, and then from that you pay a bunch of cost of issuance. The estimated issuance costs are built into these numbers. Yes, sir.
So quite simply, looking at what we have in light of the lower interest rates, looks like a smart thing to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And between now and then,
Right.
hopefully
Right.
we're able to get you in a position.
It'll be done if we were to do it in the October timeframe.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's because of the call dates in February of next year. We're back in the 90 days, puts us back down into November. And this is, with interest rates the way they are, and with the market the way it is right now, I can't see any financial reason we would not want to do this.
Correct. And we'll, as, you know, we can, between now and then, work with you to begin, and work with you and your staff to begin the preparation of a preliminary official statement. That's the offering document used to market the bonds in the bond market. Get you in a position to, late September, early October, visit with S&P, the rating agency that carries a rating on the county. Get that rating updated so that you're then in a position to get out to the market to sell refundable bonds. You effectively, like a refunding on a house, you go out and issue a new bond that is just simply used to pay off the old bond. Now you have
And just to explain on these bond ratings, one of the things that we talked to Dusty about that we have been concerned about is if any of your top 10 taxpayers are in default on their taxes, that is a negative impact to your bond rating. And for those that, the court knows, but for those of you that read in the paper that we've settled with Mooney and they paid their entire 2019 taxes, we no longer have a top 10 taxpayer in default. So now that that's done, we're ready to move on this.
that's good.
Now,
And Dusty, what
does
you
that
did-
ding it a little bit, or is it full?
No, we're
Operating.
back in
I got
first rate.
Good shape.
And so your estimate here is conservatively what the interest rates would be, so.
Yes, sir.
Could
Based
we
upon
be
where
better
the
than
market
that?
is now, it's a
Okay.
fairly conservative estimate. Yes,
So
sir.
you guys must be really busy because probably a lot of people are looking to refinance.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay?
And if you look over on page 6, I just point out that in that net savings column, the second from the right, we're gonna save in the neighborhood of 27,000 to low 30-something thousand dollars a year for the next 11 years. That's the way we'll realize this.
Okay.
So
And this includes everything that's listed on page 4?
No, sir. It only includes the portion on page 4, the Series 2012 and the Series 2014. Those are the only obligations that the county has right now that has a call feature that's coming up in the upcoming fiscal year.
Harley, if you look in that column, it says first call date there at
I
the
see
top.
that.
The next one's first call is in 24, 26, and then the last one's in 29.
So we're just dealing with the ones that are coming up in February. And
Yes, sir.
one is not available there. What's the story on that?
You notice that particular obligation has a final maturity. If you look on the column right next to first call date, it says final maturity. The final maturity of that obligation is 2/15/2022.
That's not one worth.
No, sir. It doesn't have a call feature. It pays off before you would get to a normal call feature. That, I believe, was a CO that was issued for some of the initial planning for the East Curve Center Point wastewater treatment project.
Any other questions? Okay, that has to do with the refinance.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to the next one.
So the next slide, we get into a couple of analysis that we put together here related to some options for financing. And Judge, what I did here is I ran a scenario for a total of $1.8 million amortized over 4, 5, or 7 years. And then we also did 2.5 million, or 2.55 million amortized over 4, 5, or 7 years. My initial, so one of the spreadsheets that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, we had a typo that said 3, but I went back and looked at that. That was actually amortized over 4 years. So I wanted to change that and correct it for our meeting today.
Now, let's get everybody on the same page of where the 1.8 comes from.
Let's do.
We're looking at trying to finance about $880,000 for capital improvements, mainly vehicles and some road and bridge equipment and road projects. Finance that over a 3-year term. That's what we put in that's what the assumption is in the proposed budget that I've submitted. The other $1 million is what it would really cost to purchase and bring up to ADA compliance the building that we're talking about for the Public Defender's Office, just down the street. So if we were to borrow the money to do that, then that would be a total of the 1.8.
Yes, sir. The scenarios that were amortized over 4 or 5 years, I utilized an interest rate of about 1.35%. Okay, we believe that that's a little bit conservative. I think that we can get that down if we put this out to bid to various banking institutions to purchase it. I think that rate would likely come in closer to 1%. The 7-year amortization, we ran that at about a 1.7% interest rate. And again, I believe that would come in lower than that. I think we could probably get that in below 1.5. But I wanted to be conservative as we looked at these debt service figures here on an annualized basis. So you see the 1.8 million 4 years would cost you about $470,000 per year. 5 years would be about $380,000. And the 7-year payback would be somewhere between $275,000 to $280,000 per year. Then, moving on to the $2.55 million, again, as I think we alluded, based upon your ultimate need, your ultimate project list, the ultimate dollar amount, obviously we can adjust these figures going forward. But the 2.55 over 4 years would be about $665,000 per year. 5 years would be about $535,000 per year, and then the 7-year payback would be plus or minus about $395,000.
What's the basis for the 2.55?
It's executive session.
Huh?
Executive session.
Okay. I understand.
This type of financing, the way we have laid this out is as the assumption of a tax note. Tax note is an instrument that counties have the benefit of utilizing under state law. One of the requirements is that the payback cannot exceed 7 years. Okay, that's one of the reasons that we limited this thing to 7 years. Also, in line with the projects that you're looking at here as well, and just trying to be sure a lot of the county's goals of being financially conservative and prudent as well. So that's a great instrument to use. You can pay back debt service on a tax note inside of your INS budget, so that it does not have to come out of the M&O portion of your budget, which is also very, very important given some of the budgetary concerns of the county as well. So I wanted to point out those two items.
Now, just to keep everybody focused on what we were discussing with Dusty, we're looking at this as a type of bridge financing, like a bridge loan. We were talking about trying to present a bond issue to the people in November. We've decided against that. We don't think this is a good time to do that. But we do think it's something that we will probably be going to the people within the next year or two. And so this would be an opportunity for us to be able to tie up some of the land that we're talking about to do this, purchase a building, and have interim financing on it until we're able to take that to the people with the bond issue and do long-term financing. So that's really the whole idea behind what we're talking about.
Okay.
Judge, on the capital item, 800,000 capital items, and I haven't seen the budget in detail, so I'm not sure what that is. But I'm always leery of financing kind of annual capital purchases. I presume there's cars and things like that in there. And we've gone back and forth of doing it with debt, doing it with leases, buying outright. We bounce around a lot from year to year. And so I'd be really concerned about financing those capital purchases unless we have some sort of a plan and where we're going for the next 3 years after this with those capital items.
What
That's a fair
happened
concern.
what happened to the lease idea for the sheriff's department? for
The
example?
lease, the way we dealt with the lease idea, I don't know, did you participate in that meeting, Dusty? When we
No,
brought
sir.
Bob Reeves in, our tax assessor
I
collector?
do not believe so.
Yeah.
We sat down and talked with our tax assessor collector about that, and he walked us through, I can't do it, would have to get him in here to show you, but walked us through the formula of how we compute the effective tax rate for our revenue caps for the new legislation that was passed last year. There's a significant difference if it's under the M&O side of our expenditures versus the INS side. And so the lease keeps us in the M&O column.
Exactly.
And that gives us more restrictions as to what we compute as the effective tax rate. And we have a great more flexibility by putting it over in the INS.
That's
And
absolutely correct.
it improves the return to the people.
That's the important part, which
Right.
is most beneficial to the taxpayer.
But now, as to Jonathan's comment, I think it has a lot of validity, and that is, we're talking about financing these capital improvements that would normally be in a budget either as you'd normally expect to see it as a lease or as a outright purchase. And we're talking about financing that over a three-year period of time. And that is a calculated risk.
And it's also, it's complicated in my mind, it's 3 years, but then we are also looking at then refinancing this 3-year note over a longer period, so then if we're not careful, we're all of a sudden financing cars over 30 years.
Right.
Well, we don't want to do
The last
that.
3 years.
So I mean, it's, I'm not opposed to doing it, we just need to be very careful on and thinking of, we can't decide this year what we're gonna do next year.
Right.
But we need to have a plan as to, and at least ask our departments what their 3-year plan looks like on capital items. And do we roll some of that forward? Do we just be aware of that whole
Does
issue?
it really save money when you look at it that way?
Yeah.
Right.
And it might not.
Yeah. You just gotta make sure, be very careful.
Well, it's not, that's not so much saving money, that's being able to afford what we need.
Right.
Yeah, and
That's a
then you're gonna
different
go
issue.
back, and I think I heard you say that then after this happens, we're gonna go back and then maybe convince people that we need a CO on this building.
Well, that's where you have a bond, so.
Or a bond.
This is a bridge loan. That's what.
I know.
Well, but
On-
the
on
capital improvement's not a
loan,
bridge loan.
It would pay off this.
Well, there's two components. There's really three. We'll get to the third one in a minute
Right.
that we're talking about. The first one is the refinance. The refinance is a no-brainer,
Right.
in my opinion. The second one we're talking about is financing capital improvements for this year's budget, the FY 2021 budget. And that's a little bit more complicated. And it's not that we're going to have a savings to the people. It's actually going to cost a little bit more to pay some of the finance charges on this. But we're going to be able to afford everything in a year where money is really tight. That's what we're looking at.
Well, I'm looking for a simple way to explain that to voters. And I don't hear it yet.
Well, if we're buying a $50,000 automobile and we don't have the money to pay for it cash, but we can pay a third of it over a 3-year period of time, a third, then we can afford the new vehicle. The sheriff's department needs new vehicles. How many are we talking about buying?
Well, and I'll say two things. Number one, in this coming year's budget, I've asked for 7. Okay, 7 new patrol cars. But the only thing I would caution against is what we did a number of years ago when we got the 2010 patrol cars, because the county did a CO. And it made sense at that time. The interest rates were low and everything else. We got like 15 cars, okay, which was great. It worked out. They were going to pay them off for 3 years. But the problem is, you have 15 cars that all wear out at the same time. And so now we were having to try and, since we weren't doing COs the last several years, we were trying to replace, 6 or 7 of those 15, but it took you 3 years to do it. So by the time we finally got rid of the last of the 2010s, which was this year, I had patrol cars bumping 200,000 miles on them because we couldn't get rid of them soon enough. So I would caution about how many vehicles we buy at one time. And that's why we're trying to get on the schedule of, 7 to 8 a year and no more.
And that's what the auditor's office and I sat down and discussed is we feel like we're back to the point that we've got a fair rotation of vehicles to be able to do this. And we're a little older and a little wiser on how to do it. And we think we can do it.
Would the plan be, Judge, then to do a CO again next year for the capital items? Potentially.
Well, we don't know where we're going to be financially next year.
Right, and that's part
That's
of
what
it.
it sounds like we're headed
Yeah,
toward.
but that's kind of the risk is that when we made the decision and whatever it was, we bought 15 cars, you're in one set of financial situation and taxes and all that. And that might have been even at the time when the economy crashed, when we did that. And we had to do the same thing we're doing now, but for different reasons. Anyway, you just got to be very careful that we don't repeat the mistakes we made. I won't say mistakes.
And we're very mindful of that. What we wanted Dusty to do is run the numbers so that we can come have this conversation with you about, is this something we want to do? Because if we can finance these cars over a 3-year period of time, and we're on a rotation, we think now that because we did pay cash the last few years, that we can do that, then it's just like going down and buying a new car every 3rd year.
Well, the only other thing I would recommend looking at is that rotation of the 7 needs to be patrol cars, because that's the hardest driven ones and the ones that get the most mileage all the time. What we've been doing, I've got about another 10 that are, like CID or unmarked cars that do not have to be police package type cars. Now those cars right now are on their last leg because they've either been patrol cars that we rode all the way down, or they've been used cars or seized cars that we got. So yes, I don't think we should go over 7 to 8 at the most patrol vehicles in a one-time purchase because of rotating those out. Now, if you added 8 or 10 more of just normal 4-door cars, okay? Not police package for your investigators, your warrants, your people, warrant transport, people that are just driving miles and don't need the high package. Then I think you would be advantageous in that, because those cars can easily last 10 or 15 years.
Right.
They're not, don't have the wear and tear that a patrol car has. And we are in dire need of replacing a lot of those cars.
What's your average cost of a fully equipped cruiser?
Police car, I have it in this year's budget, it's right at, right around 45,000, totally equipped, 45, a little bit under 50. I've asked for 7 in this year's budget, and the 7 totally equipped patrol cars are 413,000, is what it came to. Okay. So, but if we were to get plain cars, you're talking, you could do those for probably another 20,000 apiece for a decent, just good economy wise, good gas mileage, investigative type vehicle. I think you can get some of those.
But this would not go past the life of that vehicle, and that's the important thing. What I thought I was hearing a minute ago is this is going to be stretched out over time longer than that vehicle will last.
No, we're talking about different financing options. The refinance was the first one. This one is the capital expenditure finance. And this one, we do not want it any more than 3 years. And just to remind everybody, we're not here to make the policy decision today as to what we want to do about all this. We can talk about it, but we're here to try to get the financial information so that we have real numbers to work with when we make this decision.
Knowing our options.
Right.
One of the things I just pointing out, just kind of listening to the conversation here, one of the things that you might consider from a budgetary policy decision moving forward is if you were to kind of attack this plan in this fashion this year, then also maybe incorporate something in your budget for future years. We always have in our audits depreciation, but those depreciation figures are usually just accounting entries. And one of the things that we oftentimes encourage our clients to consider is, especially as it relates to things like rolling stock, is try to get into a cycle where for your rolling stock, have a cash funded depreciation account, such that as those vehicles over time then begin to wear out, you have built up a little bit of fund balance there in those accounts to fund the next cycle, the next wave of vehicles, because they will wear out.
Dusty, is it possible to issue a tax note that have it, part of it be a 3-year and part of it be a longer period?
Absolutely.
So you could guarantee that we're paying the cars off in 3 years, but a little bit more flexibility on the
Absolutely.
Capital.
That's exactly right. Yes, and that's one of the things we can do is we put together that package and you guys give us the number, total dollar amount, and the dollar amount of each type of item that you want to pay back. We can build that in our model to amortize certain items within one series of tax notes that pay off over 3 years, and some that may amortize over 4 or 5 years.
And remember that on this 1.8, there's 2 components to that. One is the capital expense that we're trying to finance, and the other $1 million is buying that building, which is meant to be an interim loan, subject to going to the voters for a bond issue. Okay, and before we turn the page on this and start talking about going to executive session, the 2.55, the numbers that were added to that are specific parcels of land that would be part of a bond issue that we've worked at the Capital Improvement Planning Committee level, because there are some very good bargains out there to take a look at, and we're looking at some interim financing on that. That's what would bump the number from 1.8 to 2.55.
Okay.
And we're going to discuss that in executive session. But this is the basic finance information that we wanted to make sure that the entire court was up to speed and people understood what we're trying to do to address this year's budget as well as provide for the future needs of the county. Any other questions for Dusty?
Good.
As always, excellent job, Dusty.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Appreciate you.
Okay, so with that, I think it's time for us to go into executive session to talk about the specific properties that we might be trying to finance. So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back into executive session. It'll be 11:33 a.m. and the Kirk County Commissioners Court is coming out of executive session back into open session. Is there any action on our executive session?
Judge, I would make a motion that the judge, with the counsel or advisory work of the CIP, be authorized to enter into negotiations for real property that could benefit the county in future use.
Potential. Potential.
Yeah.
Potential profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Letts, to authorize the county judge to enter into negotiations for the possible acquisition of properties for use by the county in the future. Any other discussion or debate about that? And those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Any other business before the court today? Then court will be adjourned.